Like Sire, but you get to keep your hand. It's instant speed discard. What's not to love? It's been some time, but welcome to another game in our Usurper series. There will be more of these to come. This game, Josh is the head honcho with Karn Silver Golem. Try to guess who the guard, traitor, and the two assassins are over the course of the game. Let's get started with the opening hands. Since Josh is the king, he starts the game with Tendo Icebridge. Everyone else plays a land, but the only one with the turn 1 play is Chris with Skull Clamp. Josh plays Blinkmoth Nexus. Nature's Lore from Ronnie. Armillary Sphere from Rob. I cast Demonic Tutor for Soul Ring. Chris starts his turn. Now, there's something you need to learn about Chris. In the game of Magic, there are a few things that compel him. One is that he has to blow up opponents' Karoo and bounce lands if given the opportunity. Another is that he has to blow up things like Wayfarer's Bauble and Armillary Spheres if they're on the table and his opponents don't have the mana to activate them. This is what he does now by Vandal Blasting Rob's Sphere. He just had to. On Josh's turn, he casts Voltaic Key and attacks Ronnie for 1 with his Nexus. Ronnie cultivates on his turn. Rob casts Praetor's Grasp on Chris and takes a mystery card out of Chris's deck. You'll find out what it is later. I cast Soul Ring into Graveborn Muse. Chris casts Goblin Warchief and attacks Ronnie for 2 with it. Josh casts Thran Dynamo, taps it and untaps it with his key and casts Mind's Eye, but has no mana left up. Ronnie plays his commander on his turn. Rob casts his commander on his turn. I lose a life and draw 2 cards on my turn. I play Ancient Tomb and take 2 damage when I tap it to cast Caged Sun, naming some black color. Fearing the damage Perforos can dish out, I attack Chris for 4 with my zombie. I cast Reassembling Skeleton. Missing his 4th mana, Chris is unable to cast his commander. However, he is able to play someone else's commander with Krenko Mob Boss, and along with Goblin Warchief, should make for a happy Halloween. Josh casts Karn, makes Mind's Eye a creature, and attacks me for 5. Josh then casts Unwinding Clock, which, if you have the artifacts Josh currently also has out, you win the game. Ronnie and Josh both untap during Ronnie's turn and both draw. Ronnie gets a 6th mana, plays it, casts Soul of the Harvest, hits it with Xenagos, and then attacks me for 12 trampling damage. Rob plays a land and passes. Josh again draws. I lose a life and draw, and then draw, and Josh draws twice with no life loss. It's at this point of the game Josh starts to get out of control, and no one at the table does anything about it to mitigate his board state. It's kind of like someone passed out only guard and traitor cards. I don't draw another swamp and am forced again to use Ancient Tomb, losing another 2 life. I cast Myojin of Night's Reach with Divinity as my last-ditch effort to save myself from Ronnie's constant attacks. Chris makes 2 goblins with his Goblin Maker at my instead. On his turn, Chris clamps one of his goblins and finds his 4th mana. Chris casts Expedition Map and Mog War Marshal and clamps it, getting a total of 2 goblins. Chris attacks no one. Josh plays Maze of Ith, taps a bunch of mana and casts Golem Foundry, Arcbound Ravager, Codex Shredder, Energy Chamber, makes artifacts into creatures, and attacks Ronnie for 14, 5 commander. On Ronnie's turn, Ronnie draws a card, Josh draws with Mind's Eye, and I remove the Divinity counter from Myojin, discarding everyone else's hands. Ronnie once again opts not to go after the king, who just attacked him, and instead continues his campaign against me by pumping his elemental with Xenagos and attacking. I again take 12 damage, going to 5 life. On my turn, I play Swamp and again use Ancient Tomb, going to 2 and casting Overwhelming Forces on Chris, destroying 5 creatures and drawing that many cards. The list that returns artifacts to Rob's hand. I cast Fleshbag Marauder, getting rid of my own Graveborn Muse, Rob's Commander, and Ronnie's Soul of the Harvest. Josh makes a Golem with his Foundry and sacks it. Chris casts Perforos on his turn and passes. Josh again has been drawing this whole time with Mind's Eye, by the way. On Josh's turn, he puts a +1 counter on Arcbound Worker with Energy Chamber and plays Rogue's Passage. Josh casts Mycosynth Golem, Kodato Forgemaster, and Cloud Key for artifacts. Josh makes things creatures and attacks Ronnie for 7, Rob for 7, and Chris for 6, 5 Commander. Ronnie draws a useless Boundless Realms and passes. Rob casts Executioner's Capsule and Armillary Sphere. I draw and cast Exquisite Blood, play Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, activate it and cast Liliana's Spectre, and Skull Clamp and Expedition Map. Now Chris and I match. I attack Chris for 10 and gain 10 life. On his turn, Chris sacks his map and gets Valakut the Molten Pinnacle and plays it. I am not even sure what's going on Josh's field right now, but I bet it's pretty frightening. Josh sacks golems from his Foundry using his Kodato Forgemaster to get Mycosynth Lattice. Now with Lattice, which is a combo with Karn, Josh can blow up any land he wants by paying 1 mana. That's all it takes. Ronnie untaps and Josh blows up all of his lands. Ronnie passes, and I think he just concedes at this point. Rob sacks his Sphere. Rob and Josh untap. Josh turns all of Rob's lands into creatures, but doesn't exactly specify at which phase he's doing it, so we just assume it's his main phase, so that means Rob gets to do stuff? I don't know. Anyway, that's casual magic for you. Rob floats mana, casts Chris's Mana Crypt from earlier, which also Josh turns into a creature without having priority, but whatever. Rob taps it for mana, casts Demonic Tutor, gets Life's Finale, and casts it, searching Josh's library for 3 creatures and graveyarding them. In response to the board wipe, Josh turns some of my lands and permanents and Chris's lands into creatures, and they all die when the Life's Finale resolves. On my turn, I play a land and pass. Chris passes. Josh recasts his commander, and over the next few turns, very eventually wins by finally casting a Chroma, making enough artifacts into creatures, and attacking with them enough to kill me, and then Rob, and then Chris eventually reveals he's the guard, which ends the game. So, this game went pretty much how you'd expect. When you don't deal with a combo deck, the combo deck wins. Even though Ronnie was an assassin, he still chose to attack me instead of attacking Josh. This forced me to react more defensively instead of having a chance to mitigate Josh's field. And while I could have dealt with Josh's creatures, it's unlikely I would have been able to do anything about his non-creature artifacts. Chris didn't do very much this game, partly due to missing land drops, partly due to the fact that he was the guard, and Perforos is not a very good guard, exactly like how you'd expect. Rob said he was basically neutered by the Myojin, which stopped him from doing much of anything. Mycosynth Lattice with Karn has lots of potential to win Josh games when they're both on the table, and it might be the primary way Josh's deck wins. Ruination was one of the cards Chris discarded, and the fact that Chris didn't cast it was what led Josh to believe that Chris might be his guard. Okay, thanks for watching this game of Usurper. We will have more coming up in the future.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey fellow cloners, Dex Protection is a new company specializing in deck-related accessories such as sleeves and card boxes. Their sleeves are reminiscent of KMC sleeves, but are even more affordable, boast better shuffleability, and bending at the corners prevention. Ooh. Being pretty new, the Dex website only has the black hypermat sleeves available at the moment, but they have even more in the way of deck boxes. Just look at these. Also, magnets. I recently sleeved up the new Mystery Horde using their sleeves. Horde theme and gameplay still coming soon. Check Dex Protection out here at their website, also listed in the video description. And remember, a deck without Dex is just another stack of cards.